Plus, the guy who was doing the voice was unreliable. They couldn't reach him half the time, and quite frankly, it didn't sound like acting in the game. What he did sound like reading. He was just not an actor. He was actually one of those radio DJs that I mentioned earlier who can't break out of his voice, and that was what the character's voice sounded like in the 90s. So if you put 2 and 2 together, maybe you know what it is. In 2 weeks, you'll know. You'll know. And I'm kind of excited about it because it's an awful, awful, violent game. I'm excited about that. You had a question? What was your question?
Are you going to be at YomaCon this year?
I'm going to be at YomaCon this year. I'm going to host the opening ceremonies, like I did the last few years. Vernita's here. Say hi, Vernita. She and I will be hosting the Sexy Naughty Late Night Party. And are you 18 plus?
Yeah.
Did you go to that last year?
Yeah, I go to YomaCon every year. It's on my birthday. So.
Cool, then you got in time because they turned people away at the door last year. Once we had 600 people in the room, they had to turn people away. It was a great panel. And this year, at Sexy Naughty Late Night Party, we have a sponsor who's bringing so much stuff that everybody in the audience gets a to-go bag with goodies. Who can't use condoms? I mean, come on. And it's more than just condoms. It's all kinds of stuff. A lot of cool prizes, including, I know this is not an 18 plus panel, but I'm so impressed by this one particular product that we'll give away. A Bluetooth cock ring. And I know what you're thinking. Huh? A Bluetooth cock ring? How does that work? With batteries. But the funny thing about it is, guys, you never want your girl to be doing this while you're making love to her, but now you'll want her to have her phone in her hand because it's Bluetooth and it's controlled by your mobile device. For her pleasure, too. If you ever, by the way, just a tip between us 18-plussers, if you ever buy those ribbed condoms, here's a tip. Turn them inside out for your pleasure. Just saying. Okay, any more questions? Yes, sir, what's your question?
So, from the early days of voice acting to now and everywhere in between, where have you found that you started to get more and more recognized for your roles in games versus potentially back in the day where you were just a character in the game?
Well, gamer conventions for sure. Those are really the best for me because the gamers, if they know I'm there, they seek me out, they hunt me down. And I'm one of those guys who, I call the game developers before I go to conventions and ask for copies of games to give out. So I bring those with me to every convention. Matter of fact, do you play games?
I do.
What platform?
PC, PS4, Xbox.
I got some for you. Xbox or PS4, what do you prefer?
PS4.
Have you played Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition where you can play Duke Nukem?
I have not.
Now you will. Good catch. Have you guys heard of the game called Ion Fury?
Yes.
Ooh, okay, so it started out as a really cool game called Iron Maiden. But the band Iron Maiden slapped a cease and desist and told 3D Realms they would sue them for using the name Ion Maiden, which, if you ask me, that's a load of crap. Yeah. That's just ridiculous. But the guys at 3D Realms are like, you know, we don't need the hassle, we'll just change the name, whatever. They changed it to Ion Fury. And it's out now and doing very well, and that's one of my favorite roles to play is the bad guy. So I'm Dr. Jadis Hestel in that game, and that's one that you might want to check out. The reviews so far are really good. I know that I have Steam codes for it, so you don't have to worry about the platform if you really want to play. All you got to do is suck up to me later and buy me a shot of tequila, and I'll give you a Steam code. You get 2 Steam codes, or you get a Steam code and a game. By the way, Brad Hale, love you, Brad. Everybody know Brad?
Yeah.
You know, he made these for me. I went on Twitter a few weeks ago, and I said, you know, come on, Funko Pop, make a frickin' Duke Nukem. And they won't do it. Brad did. He went above and beyond by making Duke and then making one of me too. And yes, the hair is gray, not black. Thank you for the authenticity. I really like the Converse All-Stars, the Chucks. Those are cool. So seek out Brad if you need something special in the way of fun codes. Next question, anybody? Anybody got a question? What's your question?
My question for you is, I know voice acting, pretty much any sort of voice acting, can be very strenuous on the throat.
It can be.
What do you use to kind of help soothe the throat, like any like special teas, herbs, that kind of thing?
Yeah, throat coat tablets are what I use if it's my voice has been really strained badly. And this can happen, quite frankly, often. And every time we have auditions now, when they send the auditions, there's always a footnote in the email that says, these roles may contain vocally stressful material. And I never really thought about it much until a game I did called Twisted Metal 4. Y'all ever play the Twisted Metal games?
Yeah.
So I'm the stupid little clown, the sweet tooth spokesperson. Actually, I'm every character in the game that is male. I'm Rob Zombie, General Warthog, the Clown, Ralph Jones. I can't remember all of the character names, but I'm every character in that game. But only one character tore my throat apart, and that was the little sweet tooth spokesperson Clown, who, again, another impression of me doing the Crypt Keeper from Tales of the Crypt was the voice I did. Greetings, boys and ghoulies! So imagine talking like that for 4 hours in the studio. When I was done, literally, I sounded like this for 2 days. I lost my voice. And that meant that for 2 days I could not only not work, but I couldn't audition for any jobs either. Fortunately, as a producer, I just produced commercials for those 2 days to keep the money coming in. But it can be very stressful. Along those lines, regarding voiceovers and in the studio, what you do for your voice and your mouth and all of that, anybody know why there's always, in a recording studio, there's a kitchen area with tea and sodas and water. And there's always green apples. Always green apples in recording studios. Anybody know why? You know? It's not the throat so much, but you know how mouth noises, if you've ever recorded yourself in close proximity on a microphone, you get mouth. Green apple puts the moisture level of your mouth at a perfect place to where you don't make mouth noises. None of that crap that you get sometimes. So that they then have to have you retake, or the editor has to go in and filter all of those out. Eat a green apple first, and the moisture in your mouth is perfect. You don't make mouth noises. So there's a little trivia for you. Brad, you had a question too, right?
Yeah, it's more of a thought. How does it feel to know that a lot of the fan base generation now are like young kids that at one time, like for myself, I got introduced, Duke Nukem 3D was one of the first PC games I ever got to play when I was very young. My dad did not realize the amount of violence in it and kind of gave it to me with Wolfenstein. I didn't tell him for a while.
Good for you.
But it was one of those PC platforms I just loved for years. It was a staple, early PlayStation games. To know that that generation is built onto the fact of showing their young ones. I've got a lot of friends that grew up on it that are introducing their, one of my coworkers has an 8-year-old son that loves playing Duke Nukem. And they're just tickled pink. They're like, what, you guys can go to these and meet the voices? That's an amazing guy. And I said, our friend Kevin here is like, wait, Duke's going to be here this week? And I'm like, he's a nice guy, buy him drinks, he likes that.
I'm just a guy who got lucky enough to get the part, Kevin. I'm just another voice actor douchebag, like any other voice actor douchebag. Oh, I'm sorry, 18 plus panel. Dude, just another dude who got lucky. I was in the right place at the right time.
And I mean, even your kids are getting into some of this stuff too. Because I know your daughter does a lot of cosplay stuff, and if I'm correct, the second one does cosplay stuff?
Yeah, I have 2 daughters. My oldest child is the professional cosplayer. She goes by Kawaii Besu on Instagram. She's got more followers than I do. She has 26,000 followers on Instagram. And my youngest daughter, she likes cosplay too. They'll both be at Youmacon, if you're going to go to Youmacon.
Of course.
My youngest daughter will be my oldest daughter's handler, which is cool. Actually, they both went last year, and they'll both be going on my cruise. Did y'all know that I have a convention too? I host a convention. It's called NotCon at Sea. It's on a cruise ship. It's pretty awesome. Last February was our first one, and it went really well. It was mostly video game voice actors. Next February, our second one is almost all anime voice actors. So we have J. Michael Tatum and Brandon McGinnis and Caitlin Glass amongst the other guests who are coming along. And if you're interested in it, it's in February, and it doesn't cost any more than going to a land-based convention. The tickets are about $389 per person for a 4-night cruise, and all of your food is included. So it's a really good deal. The only hitch is you got to get there. It goes from Galveston, Texas to Cozumel, Mexico. Were you? Do you have? You're obligated to come on the groove now. Really? Wow. Dude, that's kind of an honor. I mean, how serious a hurricane was it? Andrew? Oh, it was actually pretty serious. I remember Andrew. I lived on the Gulf Coast during Andrew. Wow, you're bad news. I don't know you well enough yet, but let's figure that out later this weekend. So if you're interested in that con, definitely reach out to me this weekend. I have plenty of material for you to look at, and it's going to be a blast. We have Adventures in Cozumel, Mexico, where, now, like I said, both of my daughters are going on this one too. Kauai Besu as a guest, and my youngest daughter coming along just to be her cabin mate. But the thing they want to do the most in Cozumel is swim with dolphins. So for like $65, you get to swim with dolphins for an hour. And then after you're done swimming with them, 2 of the big male dolphins come up under your feet and push you through the water. And I think that's pretty cool. We have a whole bunch of different adventures. One that I want to do the most is, do you guys ever watch that show, Ancient Aliens? You into that stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, I love that stuff. I've always wanted to go to Chichen Itza, and now here's the chance for me to go to the temples at Chichen Itza near Cozumel. It's about a 45-minute drive from where the boat actually lands. So I'm looking forward to doing that. There's going to be a lot of cool adventures, and you get to do everything with the guests on my conventions. So you have meals with the guests every night. You get to do the adventure stuff with them, like Wes Johnson, who's Sheogorath in the Elder Scrolls. Wes is going to come along. He was a guest last time, and he's coming along on the next one too, because he had so much fun, he decided he'd bring his wife this time. He left her home the first time. And he's got adventures planned. He wants to do the glass-bottom kayak over the sunken Mayan ruins, and you can do it with him. You can actually be in the kayak with him. So it's a different kind of convention experience, and that's really what I was after. I always try to come up with new and different things to do. Like, I'm working right now on a special thing for Yomacon that, I know you're, don't talk about it. I'm going to talk about it. I'm not going to jinx it. No, don't talk about it? Seriously?
Just a little bit. Just a little
Okay,
bit.
so was anybody at opening ceremonies today? You guys go to, okay, there's an adorable puppy in there, and if you know anything about me, you know I love puppies. So I'm trying to make a panel where we have like 20 puppies up for adoption come in, and we all get to take turns lying on the floor and let the puppies attack us. That's what I really want to do, because I love puppies so much. What, are you ashamed of me that I let the cat out of the bag?
Still let the puppy out of the bag.
Let the puppy out of the bag. Still going to try to make it happen though. More questions? Anybody have a question? Yes?
So I know you said a little bit earlier that one of your favorite roles to play is like the bad guy.
Yeah.
Are there any other like particular favorites or like favorite genres to play in if you are playing bad guy or anything?
Not really. One game, I've been asked before, what was it like recording that game? Well, recording any game is the same experience for me. It's a microphone, headphones, a script, and whatever. It's all about the script and the character I'm doing, how deep into the character can I go. You know, and when it's a bad guy, that's really easy for me to play. You know, you have to channel anger, and I have 3 ex-wives, so it's kind of easy for me to channel that anger into that character. And just the evil characters always have the coolest texture to their voice, right? Like the good guy, the hero, always has a fluid, maybe a big, hero type voice like this. But the bad guy, he's always got something, seething underneath. And I love doing those kind of characters because you can get really angry. I get angry before I start recording. I think about things that piss me off. Trump. And then, so before I tell you this next story, I want to make it clear that if you're Republican and I'm Democrat, that doesn't make me right and you wrong, or vice versa. We just see things from a different way, okay? So don't hate people who are Republicans if you're a Democrat. If you're a liberal, don't hate conservatives, right? Because they just see things differently than you do, okay? So set the Wayback Machine for November of 2015. And an ad agency from Los Angeles reached out to me that I had done work for in the past, and they said, the leading candidate for president in the Republican Party wants to hire you to do his national ad campaign. And I went, it's either Ted Cruz or Donald Trump. no thank you. And then my agent called me an hour later and said, you turned down a national gig for this? What, are you crazy? I'm like, well, I don't like to turn down jobs at all, but I can't in good conscience be the voice of Donald Trump's ad campaign to become president. So I'm sorry, no. And my agent said, okay, that's fine, whatever. You're lost, and hung up the phone. And then I posted on Facebook 2 days later, I said, I hate to turn down jobs of any kind, especially national ad campaign, but when Donald Trump came knocking, I said no. And so Reddit picked it up, and then the Huffington Post picked it up, and it went viral. And 2 weeks after that, I got a call from an ad agency in New York City called Wyden Kennedy, and the chief creative director at that ad agency happened to be a Duke Nukem fan. Just happened to be. He goes, hey, I was reading the Huffington Post how you refused to do Donald Trump's ad campaign. I said, yeah, I don't want to be a part of that. He goes, yeah, but you'd be perfect for the Bud Light party. We want to hire you. I'm like, okay. So, do you remember those commercials with Seth Rogen and Amy Schumer? Yeah. Okay, so I was the voice on that ad campaign. Raise one to right now, right? And the beauty of that ad campaign is that because it was an election year, the elections were November 3rd, and it was January, that meant these ads were going to run all year long. And the greatest thing about being a voice actor and having an ad campaign that runs all year long is, you get paid a pretty good sum of money up front, union scale, to do them, but then every 13 weeks, they have to pay you again for doing nothing, just for letting it air, right? So they air and they air and they air and they air, and I only did, I don't know, 4 or 5 voiceovers for this. At the end of the year, I'd make $82,300.
Wow.
I know. I had no idea. I thought, oh, it's going to be about 5 or 6 grand, whatever. I don't know, $82,300, and because it was residual checks that came in, and I get an envelope in the mail that's this thick, and they're all residual checks. These are for the radio spots. These are for the internet. These are for the TV spots. And each check was, you got checks that are $682, and one that's $1,300. But when you go through them all and you do the math, there was one envelope that had $27,000 of checks in it. And me, I'm a dumbass. I should have gone into the bank and seen the teller, but no. I drove up to a drive-up ATM and there's 5 cars behind me. I'm busy depositing checks, chill out. And that was a thrill for me. Sometimes you stick up for what you believe in and it pays off in the end. Yes?
How much of a pain in the ass